Hello everyone and welcome back, and we have brought the menace back into the fold. The absolute nightmare terror that the Convoke deck, the Boros version at least, was before the rotation happened, and this deck kind of fell off, and the main reason for that is because mono red is obviously really good. I don't think you need me to tell you that unless you haven't played best of one on the ladder at all. That would be the only way you don't know. And let me tell you right now, it's sometimes not a good time. But with that said, we are going to play Jeskai Convoke. This deck has been around for a little while and has done well in the best of 3 format, but in best of 1, I personally have not seen it that much. And the reason for that is because Temporary Lockdown is also a must play currently in the fold. So take that with a grain of salt if you try queuing this deck up. But some list, it's interesting here as we have this. We only blue card in the main board is the Spyglass Siren, which doesn't necessarily seem worth it until you remember how good tokens are with Gleeful Demolition. This card alone makes playing this worth it because on turn 2, playing a Knight-Errant of Eos is not fair. As you'll see in one of these matchups, our opponent saw us do that and said, "Yep, I'm good. Goodbye. I'm signing off." And that's all it took to win that game. Outside of that, we obviously have a sideboard as it was made for best of 3, as we have the Protect here that works very well for us to help us stop the temporary lockdowns or stop the sunfalls if need be, especially with them working well with the Resolute Reinforcements. But without them in, we're obviously a little bit more vulnerable to that stuff. You could argue even playing some of these in here just to protect yourself, or playing the Get Lost or like a Destroy Evil to get shielded and things out of the way, or blow up the temporary lockdown on their end step. A little bit interesting, but outside of that, the main purpose, if you don't remember this deck, is kind of start off with a Warden, play a Novice Inspector or a Spyglass Siren, scry it up, then Gleeful Demolition, the token that one of these two making 3 more creatures, scrying again, making this all the way up to a 3/4. Then next turn, we can get in for a ton, whether that is playing an Imodane Recruiter, buffing our entire board, which would be this would be 3, so that'd be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus an additional 6 on top of that for a total of 14, including the additional 3 from this, going all the way up to 17, and a giant massive board. And if it's a Warleader's call, we kind of get the same scenario, a little less damage, however, but we get 3 less damage, but a way to win the game post that situation, where we can just play this creature and then Warleader's call, ping our opponent a couple of times, and so on and so forth from there on out. We want to use cases as our main removal, especially when we can turn it on with that attack that turn. A lot of times you want to commit to the board until you can get 3 attackers, and then case to blow up the creature out of the way. Outside of that, a lot of times you're setting up Imodanes, or you're setting up the Evangelist along with a Warleader's call, and then knighting whenever you need to. You just basically, the only math, whether you knight or not, is do I get a ton damage in if I don't knight? The answer is yes, then you do all the damage. If you don't really have that good of attacks, or you're only going to hit for like 3, maybe playing the knight, because the knight will catch you up on the next turn. For example, say we have like Inspector, and a Spyglass Siren in play for whatever reason. We're better off casting the knight on that turn because there will be 4 extra damage on the following turn. Also, this doesn't get hit by a temporary lockdown, and that's very important. So other than that, this is the deck list. We're going to go ahead and hop into the games and see how they go. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. Haha, smile. All right, we go first. I mean, yeah, this is what we want. Sure. We'll keep going first. Hopefully, I can't see if my microphone... They double mauled, so looking pretty good so far. They mauled and then snapped off a maul, which is typically a sign of a little bit of frustration. Or they hit the button twice by accident. That could be possible. Yep, double maul. And I'm playing a Warden of the Skies. Not the most comforting thing to see of all time, unless they have removal, which they definitely could here. Cast. No stick, so we go for it. It works. They mauled, so they obviously have a little bit of a tougher choice here. They might have a temporary lockdown or something. Not a temporary lockdown, a go for the throat, sorry. We hit, we got 4 or 5. We got a lot of damage coming across the board next turn, whether they have a go for the throat or not. They could have a Terror Thunder, which would be bad. Ooh, glimpse the core, they ramp. Now let's just slam. No need to scry here. We have plenty of triggers and things that we want to happen next turn. We just need our stuff to survive. They stay, so maybe they have board wipe. Glimpse, not going to get it done. Have lethal on board. Just like that, Convoke comes back, but not a very telltale sign of it, considering they did mulligan to 5. Kept ramp, hoping it was a slower matchup. That's why I would imagine they kept these glimpses here, because they thought maybe if it was like Orzhov or discard or something, they would be able to kind of crawl out of it. And pull. I think Smuggler's Surprise is what we were against. We come out very quick, win the game. Very cool. Supposed to be Warden or Siren. Honestly, I'm going with Warden here. If I get to play Siren and maybe another 1-drop, I can then get the scry across. We'll miss the scry here. Play Siren. 1 damage, probably not worth it in comparison to the scry value. Inspector is pretty good. I'm going to let it go to the bottom for now. I have 1 mana. Maybe I go for a 3rd available here. Maybe I see if I waste kind of resources to scry again, but I will not. Caustic Bronco. A cool card indeed. Not a valuable enough card in my opinion for me to stress about it, so I think I opt to go for a Warleader's Call. It's a harder card for them to beat. This card not really wanting to attack anymore. Swing in for 5. Now Warden dodges cut down and things like that. Caustic Bronco, if attacks and hits a bad card, helps our game plan obviously. Maybe they found like a 3-mana card that's important, like a Glissa, Deep Cavern Bat. Well, that has to take the case. Unless their option is to take Recruiter, forcing me to case their Deep Cavern Bat, which is obviously an option. Well, they allow me to keep my Recruiter, but most likely I'm going to play the Warden's Call, or Warleader's Call, but I guess not. This is not the plan. Gleeful Demolition. Very tough look for my opponent, that's for sure. That's how it always feels when you play against these decks. You think you have it, and then all of a sudden you just don't. Go ahead and scry, Warden, go to the bottom. And double attack here. Now they have options to take. This is 6 damage. This Caustic Bronco is really nothing more than a glorified blocker. As a 2/2. Tries not to see him block, because you don't really want to attack with Bronco. But with our 4/5, we're pretty good. Preacher comes in, and that is lethal for us, and it's not close. Gonna get it over with. At minimum, 3 creatures hit for a total of 9 damage, and they'll have 6 total life because of the Deep Cavern Bat. So no matter how this shakes out, we still end up hitting for 9. They go to 6. Just like that, just got Convoke. Going, maybe why it should crawl out of the dirt. I don't know. I had like a thing to say, something about the grave or something, and then it all fumbled away. I don't know what happened. My opponent goes first. My hand's pretty good. We'll keep. Alright. Not really surprised, if I do say so myself. The first time I am on the draw, it's immediately against mono red. I won 2 games in a row, and Arena's like, okay, you're ready for red. Good luck. We have to take, I think. Yeah, because of how this will work. We need to play this. Now we Knight. Now we grab multiple creatures. Although, we're in a little bit of a weird spot because, like, Imodane's here isn't like a lethal kind of attack. A double attack, that means they have a Monstrous Rage. Prowess 1, this still kills it, so we'll take this trade. They already played a land and everything, so yeah, so no value here. I prevent a lot of damage that way. Gleeful Demolition, okay. Now, definitely want to go as wide as possible, but it's like awkward here, right? Because of the way my mana has kind of curved out with only one white source and Gleeful Demolition not being able to be used. At 12, it's very possible I'm dead. They use their Monstrous Rage. I can throw one block and they have to give like trample and then also have the thing to go over the top. If I Imodanes, what do I get out of it? I get a good attack. Then that's 8 damage. That's 8 to 11 damage. And I can Imodanes again. Is that the play? Or is it to play it safe and then play a reinforcements? But that still doesn't find lethal. So it doesn't make any sense to do that in my mind. So this is coming in. Does this work? Or should I just go let them be entirely unhinged here? Because it doesn't really matter, I think. This is 6, 7, 8, 9. And then it's lethal next turn for sure. Honestly, just go in. Unhinged. This is the gamble of the game. This is what this match comes down to. And I think there's a major emphasis on who's on the player draw in this matchup. As you can kind of tell, block here is actually great for us. They're gambling as well. I think they considered blocking. Now they're just, oh, a land drop. Innkeeper's Talent. I think I'm safe. I am 100% safe here. You can put a counter here that goes up to 3. No way you attack there. Maybe they're just in the boat of if they have it, they have it. And we definitely do. You get to block 3 and they take the 11 they took the turn before. And before this trigger even, like, technically if this was big enough to kill us, our combat damage would happen first. So that is something to think about if you are in these matchups. If, say, for example, they had a massive attack there, I can see attacking with this, but attacking all out is kind of wild. Because of one extra blocker, you get this Imodane's Recruiter down. But say we were at 3 or something, and they block with this and it dies, our combat damage does happen first. Therefore, like, this trigger would go in a stack to put lethal onto us, but they would be dead before this would resolve. That's for any maybe new players, you know. Always gotta keep that in mind. Ooh, this hand kind of bad, but like kind of good. It's a weird one for sure. We'll keep. Against Boros, temporary lockdown, Sunfall deck, so that's not good. That's just not good. We'll play Warden. We'll try to grow it out of Helix Rain on this turn. I just lost my last match because I had to take a phone call that wasn't very great. Honestly, I guess I should play Siren here and then play Warden, just tap it all down. It could Torch here, but once I activate the Warden, it's already happened. I could get temporary lockdown here, but I can't really play around that. We lose to it, they have it, you know? It's kind of one of those situations. I guess I could have, but like I don't know what I'm doing otherwise. Oh, it's a carrot cake, sweet. So we can kind of bully the carrot cake out of the way and trigger a case. They leave one on top, so it's either probably a Helix or a lot of things. The way this tapped is a little weird. You could torch it if you have the option, yeah. Well, that tells me it's not lockdown on top. It's probably Urabrask Forge or something of the sort. You don't think they're going to keep on top, game? I don't want to do this. Do I just want to attack them? Forget about the case. Consider the case is not online. Maybe I should activate. This has to tap, right? Yeah. So we play here. I play this. Just take a look here. Gleeful Demolition is fine-ish. But now just leave it on top and not use this token. Because now next turn, if they do something like play Caretaker's Talent or this anything other than a lockdown. Yeah, so Urabrask Forge, honestly, maybe not the best play. I think that's what they kept on top. They don't have a land. So for me, it is just land, no extra red here. So it's land. case. I'm trying to decide if I should Gleeful Demolition. I think I have to. Just like put them on it. They have it. They have it. If they don't, we're incredibly well off. I'll keep that land on top just in case I need to play the second side of that. We attack out. And they're off of Sunfall. So it's like lockdown or bust. Oh, they're dead. It is not close. Alright, well, the Boros token deck can't keep up unless they have a temp lockdown. Obviously, they have temp lockdown. Everything changed. You can see that I just lost. I had to take a phone call. We have a con this weekend. So anything that's pretty much got to do with that, I got to deal with that because there's going to be hundreds of people there. So pretty busy time. Opponent first. No red for this, but a hand that curves out seemingly well. I mean, I feel like this has to be a keep, right? Because I have the tokens, they maul, so I'll just keep especially. It's kind of weird. Playing like the Jeskai version now you have these awkward hands where like you don't always have the red for the Gleeful, even though you really wish you would. There's Imodanes. The flyer is probably best. The Deep Cavern Bat can't attack, and I can also threaten to attack the Deep Cavern Bat. I'm probably looking at activating the map here. Yeah, they definitely have interaction. So let's start off with this. They'll cut down or go for the Siren. Yeah, sure. Ain't keep a one-lander, that's for sure. I've done it in the past. Sometimes you have to. Liliana the Veil's pretty good. The plus on Liliana will actually help us out. Especially if we would have hit a land. That'd been super sick. I guess I just hold the reinforcements and go that route. Plussing on this means I probably get rid of either the Demolition or the Warden maybe. Or maybe it's just Warleader's call. I can't cast it either for two separate reasons. Like if I draw a red, I'm still pretty okay with how my hand plays out. Reinforcements. Obviously they could have removal here. We do hit the red. They could have lockdown. We can go to combat and attack the Lily and see what happens and then do everything post combat. So our Warden has better odds of living. I understand that Lily's gonna die. I know how these matchups work. The flanker, even better. We're gonna scry 2, gain 2, because that makes total sense. Not saying that is a bad thing. Now they'll see if there's a Lily on top or whatever. If they block here, this is a big sign that there's no lockdown, and we should be good to just go guns blazing here. We don't want to be super vulnerable, so we have to hold this case. So let's play the Warden. The case is a sacrificial piece here. Land I'll send to the bottom now. We don't necessarily need it. I would like to have a second red over like all this. Oh, way, dude. That's tough, man. That is tough. No way, bro. Get this down. They're obviously keeping their hand good, so we'll just get Lily while we can answer it. They could have had to lock down the entire time. It's just kind of a weird situation. Keep playing the good cards. Smile. Honestly, depending like what their card in hand is, will kind of depend whether or not they end up losing this. Because if they're holding on to like 4-drops and can't hit a land, it's weird. If they're holding on to like weird cards, like for example Liliana's and stuff, it gets super awkward because of the way that if they start hitting a pocket of lands, it becomes awkward. Like Braids, you're sacking that. Okay, so for example, that right there is weird, at least in my opinion. Let's case that out of the way. Maybe they found another lockdown, so I'm not I'm not committing anymore to this if I don't have to. I just rather play these next turn and then take my scry. I feel like the only way you do the braids plan is if you have the lockdown number 2. Yep, and there it is. But this stays, so we're good. Definitely not as vulnerable as we normally would be. Here, here. We'll take a scry, we'll attack, and then we'll probably draw a card. Best part about a clue is the draw is good. We'll just leave on top because that's just fine. Hump my board and just go to the promised land and hope to ping them to death later on. Sure. Case, shoot that thing down. One of the reasons we kept the Warleader's call on top, because situations like this, we're having a good time. Yeah, he played discard effects, so we might as well tap out here. Attack. Battlecry trigger for nothing. Hit for 3. Now even like Imodane Recruiter is good. Archangel, that's a pretty strong card. A plus, make a 1/1 lifelinker, sure. Land draws. We can't let them keep that around. We'll keep the land in hand. If this ults, we automatically lose. Okay. Sure. Maybe prioritize that, seeing that we kept a card in hand. Sure. This is definitely plussing. There's no other ifs, ands, or buts about it. You shine bright, hero. Here. Hey, you like don't do anything now. It brings so much back, dude. We just lose this game. That's so annoying. Just get to sack this on up. Okay, they or not. They should have sacked this on upkeep if they were going to do this. But you know, it's okay. Yeah, we lost this game. A game that I feel was infinitely easy to win, but they just had 2 lockdowns and we can't beat it. See what we're up against. Golgari it is. We pass, and then we'll play reinforcements in the Warleader's call. So this will do ping damage. Let's see what they're into. Cycle the Mosswood. I have no more lies. They play Bronco. Okay. Like, wait a minute, maybe there's something else. Maybe they're a different deck, who knows? I'm opting for Warleader's call here. If they want to block and trade, sure. Not entirely sure if they will. They might prioritize card draw, but they go for the trade. Could have played Case. If I had another 1-drop, I definitely would, but I think this might be a matchup, especially with Golgari, that I have to like ping them to death with like all my ETBs on the Warleader's call entering, and like any time that this type of stuff can chip in and deal damage, I feel good. Now they could tear us under my Warleader's call. This could be a thing. There's a Sentinel. That does indeed make it harder. We'll play this guy. We'll have to just pass here. Not a whole lot we can do about it. No. Next turn we could play a Knight. Hold up the white-red mana if we can. Activate. They hit a destroy enchantment. That's messed up. That's messed up. Alright, well, we know what that's got to answer. Not crazy on that one. It's a little weird because you do see a Knight-Errant of Eos. I have 6 toughness here. Ah, no blocks. Oh, another case? That's pretty cool. Have a way to blow up an enchantment. Decisions to be made. Case just feels weird. It feels bad. There. Dude, this deck sucks. That's twice I've used a Knight, and it's looked into my top 5 and only seen 5 lands and a creature. That doesn't kind of matter. Alright, sure. Hey, you got a land. That's pretty good. I do have a 5/5 that can block the Sentinel now. Now you have an option between Warleader's Call or otherwise. A little interesting. They don't know about my other case, obviously. They destroy enchantment. Now Knight can't block. Not that it was really looking to do so anyway. Oh. Sure. They hit another land. Very good for them. Our hand just continues to get more and more awkward. I hate everything about this. I could just play this and go wide and just hope I'm not dead and then just do it again, I guess. They're going to block here, and then this probably isn't blocking anything if I had to guess. Screw it. We're in there. And I guess, honestly, it's a lethal attack. They have to block with Deep Cavern Bat. I guess I just didn't do the math. Are you willing to trade off the Knight, or do you need to hit the Recruiter? I guess the Warleader's Call did do enough in terms of chip damage. This is still lethal. They have to block. And they know I have another Recruiter, so it's a little interesting. If you're going to block, you just block the Knight-Errant of Eos. I understand wanting to trade off, but it's kind of like at 6 damage, you hope to kind of remove that via something else, but sure. I get it. Like, I get definitely needing to get that off the battlefield, but now I have 2 flyers. So, you now have options. Plus, this also gives me a blocker, so if you did find a way to punch in a ton of damage, it's weird. And now I have a case in case they play, like, a Aclazotz. Oh, Greek Terror, what do you got for me? Sure. I have an answer to that. Don't necessarily have an answer to that, but I still think I have lethal. I do. Nope. I have flyers and another Imodane, so it doesn't really matter what happens here. Four in the air. Typical Convoke. We just turn them sideways. Call it a day. No blocks at work. Just strictly because 4 of it's coming in the air and you are at 3. Very cool. Weirdly enough, we keep beating up the Golgari decks, which is interesting. My opponent goes first. Once again, no real red here, but I can keep this. You've been on the epitome of being kind of punished on not having the red mana. Honestly, with this hand, is it better to discard the land and then save this for, like, a bandit's talent? I guess so, right? And we hit the red regardless, so it feels significantly better that we kept that around. Now we can play this, and if it's a bandit's talent, I'm not entirely sure what I get rid of. Yeah, because now I have to get rid of something. Discard a non-land card. Is it to be the Warden? I guess so. Because I can Gleeful Demolition this and then play a Knight. Guess it's gotta be Warden. Alright, well now, with that information, I would have done it differently. Obviously. But with another land, I mean, realistically, this Knight can be good, or it can suck like the rest have. It feels okay. That feels good. Definitely slapping my opponent on top of the head if I get the option. If they play another bandit's talent, it's going to be a little weird. I just let the Warden go. And there's the go for the throat, and just like that. Apparently Mono Black discard is not a fan of the Convoke deck. It goes too wide. Liliana sucks. Go for the throat. Cut down aren't necessarily that good because it's a little weird. Although go for the throating this and then just like taking a big bonk is fine sometimes. Especially if you get your land drops, you play a Shielder next turn. If my hand's dead, you definitely have a chance, but it's kind of demoralizing to even try to play that game out. All right, so here we are. This is the deck list. I ripped it from a challenge. I don't even remember how well it plays, to be honest with you. We're kind of in cruise control mode, if you would, for the new set. Obviously, the other creators got access to the event, which is fine. Again, I think the main thing is I gotta actually stream, which is weird because it's called a streamers event, but I'm not sure if everybody streams it. Who knows? Not really going to worry about it right now. But yeah, we're playing basically Boros with a Spyglass Siren in the deck, because this also makes a token. With that said, it runs well and does what it normally does. It blows your opponent out if they're a slow deck, like we saw in the very last match, or it can get blown out because temporary lockdown is a must play in the main board if you are playing white and not an aggro deck like this, because of obviously mono red and stuff. So it's a little hard to justify playing this. However, if we're looking into new set rotation here, the thing I've always loved about this deck and what you're going to see is outside of the lands, which realistically, if you just don't even want to play this, just trim a couple Gleeful Demolitions, or I'm not even sure if there's anything in a new set that's just good enough like to play in this deck. I have no idea. But yeah, you can play a Chainsaw, you can play it and play Gleeful Demolition. See, wombo combo. But with that said, these are all commons and uncommons, and this is one of the reasons this deck was kind of prioritized to be built in the past. Is like all these are very easy to craft. Obviously the lands kind of suck, but I'm a big advocate of the first things you should craft in a lot of places is the lands for the most part, especially the ones that you're going to play the most. Because again, lands are hard whenever you're playing basics and you get mana screwed, whereas like if I don't have a fourth Knight, I can play something else slightly worse in that spot and still potentially come out on top, because like I might never see that card. But if I have no lands and like have to craft really weird because of it, and we get into a lot of weird spots. But as you can see, all these slow lands, the problem, I guess these ones rotate, huh? Weird, I have the old ones in here. With that said, there's a sideboard and everything. If you're playing best of 3, this has done well in the best 3 recently and in the past. We don't have Mockingbird in here, which is a one-of substitution if you really want to. Like maybe you don't have necessarily all this and you want to try to just play it for now until we get to that rotation. I don't have much to say, as obviously we're in a weird period of time now with that. It's not rotation, it's just a new standard set entering the fold. I've been saying rotation before this set so long, so when I talk about a new set coming in, my brain immediately goes to rotation. But with that said, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.